YouTube, how's it going? It's your boy Jordan back with episode 4 of the What Man podcast with my boy Matt and Nate. And today we're going to be talking about the Illinois game, and we're also going to get into March Madness itself and make our own bracket. But before we do, first we want to address a couple things. Thank you for the 22 subscribers that we have. We really do appreciate it, and we hope we can continue to grow this community. I know, right? That's what I was saying. So thank you to the 22 people who subscribed. We really do appreciate it. Also, sorry for the week that we did not post. I had a lot of things going on in my personal life as well as these guys, so we just couldn't find a good time to kind of get a good video out there, which is actually mostly on me. But finally, we actually have time to get this going. So, all right, let's get right into it. So the previous weekend was the Big Ten tournament, and as you guys know, we were locked in the game, closely critiquing Illinois as we get into our biggest, most exciting tournament of the year, March Madness. Illinois won their first game versus Iowa 106-94, improving to 21-11 overall, and the 106 points scored and marked the highest single game total in the Illinois Big Ten tournament history since '98. When it comes to individual performances, Kylan Boswell led Illinois with a career high of 24 points. Will Riley also had 21 points, 5 assists, and 7 rebounds. Ivicic also had 19 points, 6 assists, and 10 rebounds. And Trey White also had 22 points, 1 assist, and 1 assist and 5 rebounds. Illinois' offense was dominant and leading at halftime. The boys, as we know, when it comes to Illinois, they looked super, super good in this Iowa game. They looked good against Iowa before this game, so I feel like they had the confidence leading into this. So my question is, what do you really take away from this Iowa game? And do you really believe that this game was just bad defense overall on both teams, or was it just good offense on Illinois' part? I'll start with Matt.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a little bit of both. Iowa, obviously, their defense is fucking horrific. Their offense is obviously really good. I think that biggest takeaway, at least from me, was that the team, as bad as they've looked at shooting, as atrocious as they've looked at shooting, I should say, the team that can still get super hot from three and shoot the lights out is still in there, which I said a couple weeks ago, I think on the last episode of the podcast, because that was a couple weeks ago now, I think at this point. But yeah, I mean, they were 12 from 26. They shot damn near 50%. Even when Boswell's hitting threes, that's having a crazy hot day. He was 4 for 7. Somehow Trey White is like automatic from 3 now. I mean, he was like a 4.5% 3-point shooter all year, and then he just comes out hitting a bunch of threes like against Michigan and Purdue. And now he's 2 for 3 this game. Will Riley looked great, 9 for 14. Yakachonis definitely struggled. What was he, 1 for 6 with 10 points? 4 of those points came off of 2 pretty bullshit technicals on Fred McCaffrey. Yeah. So without those, his game would have been 6 points on 1 for 6 shooting. So, you'd like to get, I don't know if I want to say prime KJ because that was only 2 months ago, but you really do want to get that version of KJ back before tournament. I guess I'll touch on that a little more in the Maryland game, but yeah, I think the biggest takeaway was that 3-point shooting team is still in there, but I think that you can say the defense is a little suspect. I know Iowa's offense is said to be pretty good, but yes, they put up 106. They still gave up 94 points.
Yeah.
But Peyton Sanford had 30 points, 8 for 13 on threes. I mean, he barely even had to look at the rim. He was just turning around and chucking it, and it was going in. So you can credit Iowa's performance a little bit to just him getting crazy hot. But we've seen a lot of players get crazy hot against Illinois over the years. It seems like there's always somebody on the other team. John Tanji did it to us this year. I mean, just get crazy hot and put up 30 plus or close to 30. So yeah, I still overall would say though that I came out of this game, with more positive thoughts than I had before.
All right, Nate, what do you think?
And after that game, I was pretty much all the way back in on this team, especially after beating Michigan and Purdue to end the season. I'm thinking, all right, we're starting to look like how we did at the beginning of Big Ten season, before Big Ten season when they could hit threes and where I was thinking damn, this could be a top 10 team in the nation. That game pretty much put me all the way back in there. It was fast-paced, and that seemed to work for our advantage. I know defensively we kind of played not that great, but offensively we were hitting threes again, and that team had been ice cold from 3, so that was awesome. Ivicic, again, looks great, but that's really all I have to say about that one. I was totally bought back in before the Maryland game.
True.
But the Maryland game, I know we're going to touch on it.
I can get into that right now. So then we advanced into the quarterfinals. In Illinois versus Maryland, it was a final score, Illinois 65 and Maryland 88. Illinois scoring challenges was just bad. They struggled offensively, shooting only 23 for 63 from the field. almost seems like a common factor for Illinois, honestly. Always getting hot in some games and then completely cold in the next like 5. So that's kind of scares me coming into the tournament. But when it comes down to standout performances, Maryland's Rodney Rice dominated with 26 points, including 7 3-pointers. You had Derek Queen as well, contributing a double-double with 19 points and 10 rebounds. And then Illinois, we had their leading scorers were Will Riley and Yaka Chonich, both with 15 points. And then you had Boswell contributing 14 as well. And we also led, though, in rebounds and free throw percentage, but we shot 22.2% from 3. It's like a common thing for us to shoot damn near under 20 or in that 20% range, maybe even less than 20% usually for Illinois. But Maryland also established a commanding lead at halftime, 57-31, and Illinois attempted a comeback with a at halftime with a 17-4 run, then couldn't overcome the deficit. Now, for you guys, my question is: we're going into March Madness into this tournament. Did that performance not just scare the shit out of you for what is about to come for Illinois? I'll start with Nick.
I mean, yeah, obviously it scared me, but to be honest, it just kind of, like I said, at the end of the Iowa game, I'm all the way back. And I started down here, then you beat Michigan and Purdue, and then you beat Iowa, and I'm like, all right, I'm back up here. So it just kind of knocked me back down to where I was, where I'm thinking like this team wins one game, knocked out in the round of 32, Sweet 16 potential, but I'm not going to hang my hopes on that. My problem is this team, as soon as they started getting dog walked, they just rolled over and just let it happen. I mean, not like 75% of that game was garbage time where they were down by 10, 15, 20 plus points. So, I mean, I want to say there's a bunch of highlights, like some of our players played pretty well, like Will Riley, putting up some good points, and Merez came back. But, I don't know how much I can credit them because it was garbage time damn near the whole game. I also want to say that it's a tough team to match up with because they do run, they have a great front court. They run 2 big men. That's pretty tough. And but
I mean, good team.
Maryland has pretty much owned Illinois in the Brad Underwood era. Just kind of like shoved my hopes back down. But Merez being back is great. He's insanely fun to watch. I thought he actually played pretty well. KJ, I don't know what happened to him this last quarter of the season. He's just been kind of pushed my hopes back down.
Yeah, true. Matt, how are you feeling?
Well, one thing that pisses me off about this game is we all know I'm not the biggest Michigan State fan this year. I've been on record saying they're glorified role players. So this game was about to help me push my Maryland is the best team in the Big Ten agenda. And then, of course, they get fucking whooped by Michigan the next game. So I guess there goes that idea. I still think they might be the best team in the Big Ten. But the game was super depressing. I've only turned off a couple of Illinois games the last few years. That Duke game a couple weeks ago was one of them.
Yeah.
And this is another one I stopped watching. I just couldn't do it. I mean, they were losing by like 35 or something at some point, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, when you look at the stats, Maryland overall they only shot 42%. It's not like, and like you were saying, I didn't even realize that we out rebounded them. This is like my first time really digging into the numbers just because the loss was so bad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, rebounded them 47-38. We had more offensive rebounds. So it looks like one of the biggest differences was Maryland's shooting really hot from 3, specifically Rodney Rice. And then you have the turnovers. Maryland only turned the ball over 3 times. It's really hard to beat a team when you can't force turnovers against them, and you're turning over the ball at almost 6x the rate that they are. I mean, 17-3 is ridiculous. AJ, we were just talking about, we need him to get back to prime form. What we can't do is have him turn the ball over more than, 3 turnovers with him, with a young player with great upside, that's fine. With 6 turnovers, I mean, that's pretty absurd. I mean, I don't even know how that's possible. Then you have Kylan Boswell, who is 6 of 9 from 2, but then he's 0 of 7 from 3. It's like when Kylan Boswell is consistently jacking up shots, it's just not, it's not going to lead to good offense, especially if he's breaking them. If he was making them like he was against Iowa, I guess you'll take it. But yeah, just looking at the rest, Jake Davis was 0 for 2. Yeah, it just shows that, if Illinois gets matched with a team that's like super long and athletic, especially like Ivasic, like if he gets matched up against big men that are super athletic, like Julian Reese and Derek Queen, it's tough on him. It seems like it's hard for him to keep up. So yeah, like Nate was saying, this game definitely brought me down a peg or two. Probably 2 pegs at least, if that's even. Yeah, but he was struggling. I will say though, this is something that me and my brother were chatting about. He said that like you were saying with Jordan also, that when this team, actually might have been Nate saying that, my bad. when this team kind of gets punched in the mouth, it does seem like they roll over pretty easily. And it's really hard to not roll over when in the first 6-7 minutes of the game, you have a dude on the other team who is like scorching hot. Like Rodney Rice, I think he was either 5 for 6, maybe 6 of 7 on threes. One of them being an and one, and a different one coming from the logo. Like a couple of them were completely contested, hand in the face. One of them was from the logo. Another one was an and one. Someone's like 5 of 6 on threes like that against you, and you're a team that tends to roll over, you're probably just going to roll over for the rest of the game. And we saw that happen. So if that, hot shooting stretch didn't happen, I don't think we win this game just because of how bad the matchup is. But I think it could have been closer. I think we might have lost by 15 instead of 25, if that's some, consolation.
When they
it got me a little nervous,
roll over,
but
when they roll over, their shot selection goes down the toilet. I mean, a big thing we touched on in the past podcast is how terrible they chuck threes. And when they roll over, they get lazy with their shot selection. And that's when Kylan starts, jacking up these pull-up threes. And that's when they start settling for threes early in the shot clock. They don't try to take it in the paint. Well, and they did so well against Michigan, Purdue, and Iowa. They did so well with their shot selection. And that's part of the reason why I thought the offense looked way better, because they were getting inside the paint and they weren't relying on threes. But, like I said, when they get punched in the mouth, they immediately revert back to just jacking up those threes. And we obviously know that doesn't work. So,
yeah, for me, like on the outside looking out, like I don't watch Illinois basketball as much as you guys do, but I did watch this tournament, and I got to be honest, that Maryland game was hard to watch. I think the threes were just, dude. Every time we talk about when we get into this podcast, we take these. You guys, we always talk about shooting threes. We always say like, hey, if you shoot 5 of them and you miss all 5, you should probably start shooting threes, right? But like they continued to shoot threes. I think that was the most annoying part of that entire game, and I 100% agree. It was just really irritating to watch. I hope that when we get into March, that's not going to be replicated. I believe that this team could probably get through, I would hope, to the Sweet 16, but we'll get into that eventually when we get into our brackets later on. But overall, though, congrats to Michigan, as they did win the Big Ten tournament. But as we all know, we don't give a fuck. We just care about Illinois. We just want them to succeed, and that's all we care about. All right, now that March Madness is underway, we're going to see Illinois' path to through the Midwest. Now, Illinois is going to play the winner of Texas versus Xavier, and they could possibly play Kentucky or Troy, depending on who wins that. So what do you guys think the outcome will be for Illinois getting into that next round? I'll start with Matt.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when I first saw this, I was pretty nervous. I didn't necessarily like the fact that it was either one of 2 Power 5 teams, just because they'll be super battle tested. The Big East has won the last 2 national championships. SEC is unanimously pretty much considered to be the best conference in college basketball this year. Texas was 6-12 in conference. They're 7-10 in quad one games. Xavier is 1-9 in quad one games, which is pretty fucking pathetic. This is not to throw any shade on them, because I could definitely see us losing to them. That being said, I do kind of prefer that we play Xavier. I think Texas, like I said, they have SEC experience. They have a lot of athletic players. They still have really good players who can score. Definitely would rather play Xavier. I think that being in Milwaukee is a big bonus. I think that's like basically a home game. And I think honestly, aside from the Duke game, Illinois has played pretty well recently in games where they're on a neutral court, but have the majority of the fans. So like we beat Mizzou the last 2 years on neutral courts. 2022, especially against non-conference teams. 2022, they beat, who did they beat? They beat Texas, and they beat UCLA on neutral courts where they had the majority of the fans. Against Duke this year, they got their ass kicked. Guess what? That was on the East Coast. The East Coast is closer to Duke. When we got our ass kicked by UConn, they had the majority of the fans because it was kind of by Connecticut. But in the other games, like against UCLA, Texas, Mizzou, neutral court, it's been kind of like almost a home game for Illinois. So we've kind of played decently well in those games. So that's why I'm not too upset about the draw. I think beating Milwaukee is great. I also think that Kentucky, compared to the other 3 seeds, I think that is one of the better teams you could have got. After a team like, Wisconsin, how we played them a couple weeks ago, I definitely wouldn't want to see them again. So I'm glad we avoided a 7 seed. I'm glad we avoided an 8 seed. And yeah, I'm pretty satisfied here, especially if we get Xavier, just because of their poor record in quad one games. I also think that the Big East is a lot weaker than the SEC this year. They're not as good as they've been in recent years. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. I think I would rather play Xavier. I just think, what am I trying to say here? I don't know. I I think it's kind of like whack that teams like Texas get a bid when they went like 6-12 in conference play. They kind of got dog walked all across the ACC, and I don't want this to come back and bite me in the ass if Illinois like gets fucked up by them. But I mean, I just feel like the SEC had 14 out of 16 teams make the tournament, and most of those teams, well, maybe not most of them, but like half of those teams are fucking under 500 in conference play. And I just think, and you may be thinking, well, they're so good, but like if you rank every team in the conference, every win you get in the conference is going to be a ranked win. And then you just use that to prop teams back up, you know? I don't know. I think Illinois is going to beat both those teams. I think the SEC is a little bit overrated, especially those mid-tier teams like Texas, you know, the Oklahoma, Mississippi State. I think those teams are a little bit overrated. So we'll see how that fares. As far as Kentucky goes, I know Kentucky's a little bit banged up right now. I think they're dealing with some injuries, which might be good for us. A game like that is still going to be extraordinarily tough. I mean, Kentucky's got like a huge national fan base, whether they're bandwagon fans or not. They'll probably have a pretty big presence in Milwaukee, even though it's pretty close to Illinois and, you know, good for us. And I think it's also worth pointing out that a second weekend would be in Indiana, I believe. So that would also be Indianapolis would also be good advantage for Illinois because I think a lot of fans would travel. It's drivable distance. Last year when we went to the Sweet 16, you had to fly all the way to Boston, but there were still like a ton of fans there. So I can only imagine they're going to be even more this year if they make it there. Immediately when I first saw the names like Texas, Xavier, and Kentucky, I was thinking, damn, like we're fucked. That's a tough draw. But you know, I started looking into them a little bit more and calm myself back down. I feel like this is a down year for those schools. So
Illinois beats whoever comes out of Texas and Xavier. So then when it comes to the Kentucky and Troy, who's winning? Kentucky?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so then let's say now that they win that. UCLA plays Utah State. Who wins that? UCLA or Utah State?
UCLA. Although Utah State's not bad. They're pretty solid.
I do agree. One thing real quick though. How is UCLA? Didn't UCLA get a double bye in the Big Ten tournament? Am I just making this up?
Oh yeah, they got a double bye.
How the fuck is that possible?
The committee, I think, made a lot of weird decisions this year. Like Boise State, I think they were one of the first 4 teams out. I think they definitely should have gotten a bid. They played the Mountain West, which really wasn't that bad this year. The Mountain West got 4 bids in the tournament, which is pretty good. And they were they had 24 wins. They were they were 14 and whatever in conference play. I mean, that's pretty good. And then, but you know, the committee's deciding to put teams in like UNC or Texas or, you know, these other teams that Texas got absolutely dog walked in SEC play. You know, some of these bottom tier SEC teams are getting bids for being below 500, way below 500 in conference play. I mean, I would much rather see like a mid-major team that, you know, had a successful season than like a Power 5 team that, you know, obviously playing better competition.
A little credit. SEC was pretty dominant in non-conference this year. I don't remember the exact record, but it was something like, I don't even know. I'm going to make up a number, but this was damn near what it was. It's damn near. It was like 50 and 20 or 50 and 25, some shit like that. They did have a really good record against non-conference opponents. So while I agree that the SEC glazing is a little too much, they definitely do have the best teams at the top. They definitely are the best overall conference. But I agree. I actually saw some people saying that them getting all these teams in it's like a conspiracy theory. It's like some payback for how bad the SEC got shit on in football. I don't agree with this. I just think it's a funny little conspiracy theory. But
14 out of 16 teams is insane.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that many teams should have made it in. Obviously, the SEC is the best conference, but yeah, that's kind of pushing it. That's like a record, right? I mean, obviously it's going to be a record.
Yeah, it's a record. Yeah,
are bigger than ever this year, but you know,
I mean, the Big Ten did get 8. Just to put this into perspective, the Big Ten did get 8 teams in, but if you look at the Big Ten standings, the lowest team that got in was Illinois, and they had a pretty good conference record, and they were how many games over 500? Jordan, pop that up on screen. I mean, you compare that to like the in-conference record of the worst team that made the conference from the SEC. I think it's crazy. And that's not me making an argument that, you know, maybe Indiana or like Ohio State should have gotten a bid into the tournament. I'm just saying, I think, where do we draw the line? Because I would love to see some of these mid-major teams that have probably one of their better years in program history, then they come up short because they don't win their conference championship, so they can't get into the tournament. I think it's a question we have to ask. Where's the line?
All right, so that's just what you guys think for UCLA. So if UCLA continues, then you have Tennessee and Warford. Who wins that?
Tennessee.
Tennessee has no, or Wofford has no chance.
Okay, so then moving on. So then now we got to the Sweet 16. So now we are in round 2. So do you guys think that they make it to Sweet 16? Do you think they beat Kentucky?
Yeah, I'll put them in over Kentucky. I think that's a favorable matchup for us.
For some reason, I feel more comfortable about us beating Kentucky than I do about beating either Texas or Xavier. Am I like the only one who feels this way? I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm just like talking out of my ass right now, but I feel like if they were to play Kentucky tomorrow, they would win. If they were to play Xavier or Texas, I don't know if they would win. I think that if they do get past the first round, I do think they beat Kentucky.
All right, so with that being said, we have Illinois in the Sweet 16. Do they play UCLA or Tennessee?
A rematch against either of those schools would be pretty fun. I would love to see them play Tennessee again because that was the game they lost on a buzzer beater layup at home. So, I mean, we know they can play Tennessee close.
True.
I would say Tennessee probably beats UCLA there.
I think Tennessee beats UCLA. I think that Tennessee, I don't hate to go against my team, but I don't see us beating Tennessee if we make it to the Sweet 16. I think we can. I would give it about a 70-30 chance, obviously in favor of Tennessee. You know, it's hard to get your hopes high for that one, especially when they beat us like that on our home court. That was kind of when we were on the up and up. We hadn't played Mizzou yet. Then we had that stretch, you know, where we beat Mizzou, then we beat Indiana, beat the shit out of Oregon and Penn State. So that game was like kind of right when we were about to start peaking, and we were like, okay, we can actually hang with these good teams. Then we started beating some good teams, and then we've obviously had a couple falls from grace since then. And Tennessee, I don't think has ever really had that major drop off. I think they've only gotten better and better. You also factor in that was at home, and this game would be played on a neutral court. I don't like our chances as much in that game, and that's just being totally realistic, but obviously doable. Anytime you have guys like Will Riley and KJ on your team and Visic, anything's possible. So
we've advanced to the Sweet 16, and we got to get to the Elite 8. Do you guys think we get to the Elite 8 when it comes to Illinois versus Tennessee?
I know Matthew I pretty much agree with all Matthew said. He said he made some good points, but I'm just going to play devil's advocate and say, yes, I think we get the better of him off the rematch. Brad Underwood is pretty good at rematches. I feel like for whatever reason, I think they can get hot, and we know they can keep up with them already with how they played them earlier in the season. And it is on a neutral court, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, I believe the Sweet 16 Elite 8 in the Midwest is going to be in Indianapolis, which I think will draw a ton of Illinois fans there. So if you talk about how they've done on a neutral court against good teams when they have the majority of the fans there, I think this could be one of those games. I would say let's put Illinois over them. Well, that's an upset.
Yeah, I don't know. I just have to agree with Matt. I don't think that Illinois beats Tennessee. I think just Tennessee is just overall a better team than Illinois. So I would have to have them losing in the Sweet 16, and that's where I would have Illinois' road ending.
Yeah. Okay. Just one more thing, real quick. Like I was saying before, how I feel better about beating Kentucky than I do Texas and Xavier. If Illinois makes it past the first round, I think that there is a chance that they go to the Elite 8. Like if they can beat Kentucky, and I think that, they do have a good chance against Tennessee, and I will have my hopes all the way up if they beat Texas or Xavier. I just want to throw that out there.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap up the Midwest. We'll start with the Houston SIUE game. Nate, what do you think?
Houston, they're going to dog walk the fuck out of SIU, so it's going to be close.
Yep, agreed.
Sounds good. Then you got Gonzaga versus Georgia. Who do you guys got?
I got Gonzaga. I mean, I think I made a huge deal about, being anti-SEC here, so I got to stick by my guns. I got to go Gonzaga.
Same.
Anyways, moving on. All right, so we're going into the Clemson-McNeese game. What do you guys think? I'll start with Matt.
Everyone online talking about how everyone's loving McNeese State. They got this goofy looking manager who holds a speaker up and they walk out. Started selling dog food, kept the biggest pistol, even though I was a small dude. I get your block hot, 50 shots out this AK. You get on my name, you get smoked on the same day. We do a hit, we hit your block same way. You niggas broke, tell me how y'all want a game. Which I think is cool.
First couple
yeah,
now
that's the dude.
It is cool. It is cool, but everyone's like sucking his dick, and I think after seeing this thing like 4 times, I'm like, all right, just because he has I could literally go to actually not even I was gonna say go to my bathroom. I could go right behind me and grab a portable speaker and fucking walk around my hallway. That doesn't mean I'm gonna beat Clemson in the first round. So I don't know. I think that just because they have some manager, I don't know. I'm not buying the hype. I think everybody's gonna be picking this shit. Vegas is gonna love that shit. Clemson, let's go. I'm riding with Clemson.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Clemson too for sure. But I think it's funny that that manager, I saw a picture of him signing NIL deals now, which is crazy. So they have a lot of aura coming into this game. But I mean,
Yeah, and
Clemson's
also,
probably gonna beat
dude,
the shit out of them.
it's just like, what are we doing? Like, this is really like what people like. You're gonna pick a team just because they have a manager who fucking sings Boss Man D-Lo. Like, like this is ridiculous.
All right, so we got Clemson moving on there. So we got Purdue and High Point. What do we got there?
Purdue, I got Purdue there. Although last time they played a 4 versus 13, when Purdue was last time Purdue was a 4 seed and they played a 13 in the first round, they lost. So maybe history repeats itself, hopefully. But no, probably Purdue.
Yeah, I'd love to laugh in Purdue's face if they lost, but I don't think they're gonna lose this one. I got Purdue for sure.
So out of Houston versus Gonzaga, moving on, getting into the Sweet 16.
I think Houston. I think the top heavy teams in the tournament this year are are just real top heavy. Houston's been really good for a while now, actually, but Gonzaga kind of never really does that well in the tournament. I don't want to say they're regular season merchants, but I don't know. I think Houston's way better. You mean Houston?
Yeah, I think this is a battle of the regular. Okay, to give Gonzaga some credit, I think they've made like 9
I want to say,
in a row.
I don't think you just say the regular season.
They made 2 national championships. They've just never gotten it done. But I will say there have been many times they've been expected to win it all, and they haven't. Like, they got fucking blown out by Baylor a couple years ago in the title game. Definitely had some disappointing teams. Houston, I think, is even more of a regular season merchant. I feel like they've had the same exact team every single year, like the last 5 years. Like they've got how many one seasons they got?
Yeah, wasn't Houston like third last?
They're always up there,
they're
bro.
always really good
because they play in some fuck ass conference and they get a hyperinflated record. And
so those are the regular season merchants. I don't think Gonzaga is.
They both are.
Houston's in the Big 12 now. I think. Yeah, Houston's the Big 12 now. But
I mean, that's like that great conference.
It's not. They dominated the Big 12. Like, But yeah, until I see Houston like make a fucking Final Four, like it's hard for me to pick them to go super deep. That being said, I still take them to beat Gonzaga this year because Gonzaga's pretty mid.
Sounds good. So then Clemson and Purdue.
I got Clemson. I think any team that beats Duke is a pretty fucking solid team. I think Purdue's been really slipping these last few weeks. Obviously they just lost to Illinois, and I don't know. I'm going with Clemson here. I think that although Purdue has Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman-Renn, I just don't know if they have enough scoring out of those two or playmaking. I think if they have some of their role players, I don't know, Fletcher Lawyer if he can get hot, but I'm still riding with Clemson.
Yeah, I'm going with Clemson too, just because I'm hating on Purdue.
Sounds good. So then we get to the Elite Eight of the Midwest. We have Houston versus Clemson. Then they would advance against Tennessee. Who do you think Tennessee would play?
I'll go with Clemson. I don't give a fuck. Like I said, Houston, show me something. Like I know last year they lost to, I think, Duke in the Sweet 16, and they got Jamal Sheed was their point guard, and he got hurt. So I know it might not be fair to dog on him too much, but they got to get to a Final Four with one of these 1 seeds one of these years, and I don't know, until they do that, I'm not going to have them too high. So Clemson.
I'll ride with that. I'll ride Clemson too.
So then now we move on into the Elite Eight. We have Clemson versus Tennessee. Who wins that matchup?
Probably I would say Tennessee.
I agree.
Tennessee. Hey, so then moving on, let's go ahead and go West bracket. We have number 1 Florida versus number 16 Norfolk State. I don't even know how to fucking say that properly. Who do you guys think wins?
Or like, who the fuck is that? Florida. I don't even think we need to talk about it.
Then we got UConn, and we also have Oklahoma. Who wins?
I know. Okay, so I know UConn has sort of been like downsliding, and as much as I hate Dan Hurley, I need to stand on business here and say these SEC teams are gonna fucking lose. So give me UConn.
Yeah, give me UConn as well.
So then moving on from there, going downwards, we'll go through the number 5. We got number 5 Memphis versus number 12 Colorado State. Who wins that?
I got Memphis. Shout out to Dane Danger.
I agree. I do think Colorado State could win though, because they're pretty fucking good in their conference tournament, especially their conference championship. They kind of boat race the shit out of Boise State. So
very true. And
potential, but
Memphis is pretty low in KenPom right now too. They're 51st in KenPom. It's one of like the lowest KenPom teams to make the tournament. So it's just something to think about.
All right. So we also got Maryland, and we also have we have Maryland, and we have Grand Canyon. Number 4 Maryland, number 13 Grand Canyon. What do you guys think?
I gotta go Maryland. I think Maryland's underrated coming into the tournament. I know they're a 4 seed, but I think they're really good.
What about you, Matt?
Yeah, Maryland. I think so too.
Then we go let's go below there. We got Missouri versus Drake. Number 6 Missouri versus 11 Drake. Who's winning that matchup?
I'm gonna go Drake here. They won 30 games. I know I said Mizzou basketball going to the Elite Eight a couple weeks ago, but then they lost like fucking 5 in a row. Like 2 of them were to unranked teams. Not in on Mizzou anymore. If that didn't happen, if they went 3-2, I'd still be riding high in Mizzou, but not anymore. We need to pick some upsets here, so I'm going with the 11 seed Drake.
I'm cool with that upset because I know Drake had a fire season in their conference, so I'll stick with Drake too.
We have number 3 Texas Tech facing at number 14 UNCW. Again, who the fuck is that? Again, I'll start with Matt. Who do you think wins that?
Texas Tech.
Yeah, Texas Tech.
Then we got we'll move on. Then we got Kansas versus number 7 Kansas versus number 10 Arkansas.
I'm gonna go Kansas here. I'm in again because SEC team, but also Illinois sort of dog walked Arkansas earlier in the season. Kind of. I mean, I know Kansas came into the season. They were supposed to be, one of the best teams in the country, and now look at what they are now. But I still think they beat Arkansas in the first round for sure.
I actually had Arkansas winning this one. I think Kansas has been super underwhelming this year.
I think they both have.
I'm fine. Yeah, I agree. I'm fine with picking Kansas though, just because I think Bill Self is a better coach than Bill Calipari, at least in game. So
yeah, for sure, I agree.
Kansas.
All right. So then we got number 2 St. John's versus number 15 Omaha. Who wins that?
St. John's, they're hot right now.
Yeah, I agree.
They look insane, so St. John's.
So now let's move into the next round. So we got second round. We have Florida versus UConn. Number 1 Florida versus number 8 UConn. Who wins?
Florida. Easy.
Yeah, Florida.
Good. We got Memphis. Number 5 Memphis against number 4 Maryland. Who do you guys think?
I got Maryland in this one. Like I said before, I really like Maryland. I think they look great, and I'm not just saying that because they beat Illinois. They beat Illinois this year, so I think they actually are really good.
Yeah, I agree. I'm taking Maryland here. I think Maryland has a shot to go pretty far, but taking it one round at a time, I think they beat Memphis pretty easily.
Then we also have number 11 Drake versus number 3 Texas Tech. Who do you guys think wins?
I'm riding the upsets here. I'm going with Drake. You always need a Cinderella team to at least make the Sweet 16. I think Drake's going to be that this year. They won a lot of games. I don't know. Is their coach going to leave? He fucking might, so might as well give him a big send-off and picking Drake to advance.
And then you also have number 7 Kansas versus number 2 St. John's. What do you guys think wins to play against Drake in the Sweet 16?
I like St. John's a lot this year. I think they're a great storyline too. I think they have a lot of aura. So give me St. John's.
All right, so now
give me St. John's.
Oh, sorry, Jesus.
I just wish Rick Pitino was my coach because he knows how to
Fucker looks like the
recruits
Godfather.
Yeah. So Ryan with St. John's.
So then we got into the Sweet 16. We have Florida versus Maryland. Number 1 Florida versus number 4 Maryland. Who wins in that to get to the Elite Eight?
In all my brackets, I picked Florida, but I do like Maryland's team. So if Nate, you want to pick Maryland, I would not be against it.
Yeah, I'm cool with Maryland, bro. Like I said, I think they're really good, and I think they're underrated coming into this tournament for sure. They've got some great wins on the season, so let's put Maryland.
What do we think?
So we got number 11 Drake versus number 2 St. John's. Who plays against Maryland in the Elite Eight?
I think St. John's just wins off of Rick Pitino's aura alone. Just put up a picture of Rick Pitino in that white suit. St. John's.
Yeah, you should put a picture of Nate, Photoshop him sucking his dick. I mean, Jesus Christ, what are we doing here?
Don't do that. Please don't do that.
So then now we got them in the Elite Eight. Who is going to the Final Four, Maryland or St. John's?
Well, apparently you already know who I'm going to pick.
I had Florida over St. John's going to the Final Four, but we got to switch it up for this one. Let's go Maryland over St. John's for me.
Come on. I got St. John's in this one for sure. I think
all right.
This is already farther than Maryland's gone in a while. Good for them, but this is where it ends.
Yeah, so how
this is such a good story for St. John's and Rick Pitino.
Yeah, so how this is gonna go basically is I guess I'll just be the tiebreaker just because I am familiar with college basketball, just not as familiar with college basketball in this time that we are in now. But if I had to be the tiebreaker, I would just go with St. John's just because of Rick Pitino. I don't like Maryland purely, and I don't even know why we.
All right, now
Maryland.
Photoshop a picture of Jordan sucking his dick too.
What do you mean, bro? I don't like Maryland at all. I don't like any other Big Ten team other than Illinois, and I'd rather not see Maryland.
On my side here. So
honestly, I don't even want Maryland to even fucking get over. I don't even want Maryland to get this far. Honestly, bro. Fuck.
Why don't you like Maryland? Why don't you like Maryland?
I mean, yeah, my mom is from Maryland. That's be like, I need to fucking be a fan of Maryland. You know what I mean? I just don't like that. First off, I just don't. I never liked Maryland since what's that guy's name that went to the Hawks, bro, with the orange hair? Kevin. Do you guys remember?
Kevin Herter.
Herder, yeah,
He's on the Bulls now.
Oh, he is.
Bulls.
These fucking suck, dude. Does he even play?
Damn near their best player.
All right. Anyways, yeah.
I mean, the Bulls are terrible. Yeah, this is
not new.
This is known information.
I don't know. I think Giddy's probably up there. Anyways, so we got St. John moving on against Maryland. Perfect. Okay, so then now let's move on into the East. Before we get into the South, let's go ahead and get to the East. We got Duke versus who the hell? Do you guys know who those teams are?
I have no fucking idea. I don't think it matters. Duke.
All right, Duke moves on. Is that any questions? Are we good? All right, Mississippi.
Wait, before we move on, do we know if Cooper Flag's back? What's up with Cooper Flag? Is he going to play in the tournament?
They're trying to get him ready for the tournament. So then we got Mississippi State versus number 8 Mississippi State versus number 9 Baylor. Who do you guys think wins out of that?
I go Baylor. I mean, I'm calling all these SEC teams overrated. I think the top ones are good, but like I said, these middle team ones just don't do it for me. So give me Baylor.
Yeah, I agree. I'm picking Baylor. Not even because I know. I don't think if you gave me $1 million to name one player on Baylor this year, I'd be $1 million broker because I don't know shit about this fucking team. But I'm still picking Baylor.
So then we also have Oregon versus Liberty. Number 5 Oregon, number 12 Liberty. Who gets to the next round?
I feel like this could be an upset. I mean, we were talking about getting punched in the mouth and rolling over, and Oregon definitely got punched in the mouth by Illinois earlier in the season, and they rolled over, and that was a total blowout. I don't know. I could see that happening again. I know Liberty's been in the tournament a good amount recently, so there got to be a good program. I might pick this as an upset here and take Liberty. Okay. And we know Big Ten teams never do well in the fucking tournament. So.
Yeah, I agree. Oregon, I know they have a good record. They're a 5 seed. They're 24-9. Anytime I don't know if I like every game I watch them, I just happen to pick the games where they look fucking horrible. But every time I watch them, they look fucking horrible. I don't know what it is. Like, so yeah, I'm picking Liberty to beat them. That no disrespect to Oregon, but I don't even know how they won 24 games. They just don't do it for me.
We got number 4 Arizona versus number 13 Akron. Shout out to LeBron. Who you guys think?
I think this is another upset. I think this is going to be our first double digit seed game in the second round. I'm thinking we get Liberty versus Akron in the round of 32. I'm picking Akron. Arizona always shits their pants in the tournament. I mean, haven't they lost to double digit seeds like back to back? They lost to Princeton a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
didn't they lose in the first round last year too?
Don't they have like that 6-year fucking UNC guard?
Caleb Love, yeah. I mean, that's even more a reason not pick him. This dude jacks up 1 million shots a game. Every now and then he'll have some crazy, heater where he hits like 5 threes in a row. Still, we're talking about Arizona here. They're probably one of the only other schools that's more poverty than Illinois in the tournament. Like when you compare tournament results versus regular season results, give me Akron.
Yeah, I'll take Akron too. I know Arizona fans are talking a lot of shit about our boy Kylan Boswell, so fuck them.
We got BYU number 6 versus VCU number 11. What do you guys think? Who moves on?
BYU.
Yeah, and I had some brackets where I picked VCU as an upset, but BYU I think is a good team. They've been hot recently. I'll go with BYU.
Sounds good. We got number 3 Wisconsin versus number 14 Montana.
I do think Wisconsin is still a little bit overrated. I still think they're a little bit overrated. So, but I mean, I'm still going to take them here.
We also got number 7 St. Mary's versus number 10 Vanderbilt.
All right, so here's where I'm going to switch it up. I feel like I can't pick against every single SEC team. And Vanderbilt, I probably hate the least out of that entire conference. So I'm going to go Vanderbilt.
Yeah, no, I've picked Vanderbilt pretty much every bracket I've done. So.
Vandy seems like the anti-SEC team because they always suck ass. So when people beat them, when people lose to Vanderbilt, everybody else in the SEC talks shit about them. So I feel like they're one of the ones I can get behind.
Yeah, Vanderbilt, then Alabama for me.
Sounds good. Then we also have
Bama.
Move on to the next round of round 2. Who's going to get into the Sweet 16, Duke or Baylor?
So if Duke. Cooper Flag is back, Duke is, probably one of the best teams in the tournament, if not the best team in the tournament. I think they're probably going to hold them off in the first round, and I'm going to make this pick based on him being back, Duke.
I don't think it matters. I think Duke wins by double digits without Cooper Flag.
All right, we got Liberty, number 12, number 13.
Liberty.
Who do you got?
We picked both upsets there. Yeah, I feel like this one, it's just kind of a toss-up, so I'm cool with Liberty.
Sounds good. So then we also have going down to the lower end of the bracket, we have BYU versus Wisconsin. What do you guys think?
I'll take BYU in this one just because I always feel like Wisconsin's overrated a little bit. Not to say that they aren't good, but I think I'll take BYU in this one.
Yeah, when earlier in the year when John Tanji had that crazy game against Arizona where he had like 40 points, but he shot like 20 free throws, I said that this dude is really Johnny Davis 2.0, and I guess he kind of proved that against Michigan the other night because he shot 1 for 14, which is pitiful. As we all know, Johnny Davis was one of the biggest busts of all time. He fucking sucks in the NBA. John Tonji is Johnny Davis 2.0. Wisconsin loses in the second round of BYU.
All right. So then we go into we also have number 10 Vanderbilt versus number 2 Alabama. What do you guys think?
I think Alabama wins this one. Alabama's fire.
Yeah, same here.
What do you, so then moving on to the Sweet 16, we're getting into the Elite 8. Duke versus Liberty. Who do you guys think wins?
Duke.
Easy.
All right.
Yeah, even without Cooper, is probably Duke. This actually would be a great draw for Duke if they could if he comes back for the second round, they get a big lead, they take him out, and then you don't even play him in the third round.
So then we also have number 6 BYU versus number 2 Alabama. Who do you guys think?
Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama. Like I said, those top tier SEC teams are fire. It's the mid tier ones that I'm hating on.
So then moving on from there, we have Duke, Alabama. Who's getting into the Final Four?
Give me Duke here, assuming Cooper Flag is playing.
Yeah, I want to say Alabama, but my brain is telling me Duke. But then Alabama, I think, has more experience. They made it to the Final Four last year. I think it goes either way. I'm just gonna flip a coin. Heads is Duke, tails is Alabama. Flip a coin. Tails. All right, Alabama. Let's go.
All right, Jordan, what's the tiebreaker?
I'm just gonna go with Duke. Sorry, I just have to. If Cooper Flag is definitely playing, bro, that kid's gonna be insane in the league. Well, he's gonna be decent in the league. He'll become insane in the league later on. But I do think Cooper Flag for sure definitely overtakes Alabama, even with experience. So when it comes to the South, we have Auburn versus number 16. ALST or STFR or STFU. I don't know what any of that shit means or what the fuck that stands for. So I'm gonna go with Auburn. What do you guys think?
Auburn. Yep.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Skip.
Sounds good.
Skip. Louisville, Creighton. I got Louisville.
Yeah, I'll take Louisville too. Even though Tommy sold me on a bet the other day, I'll take Louisville.
Good. We got number 5 Michigan versus number 12 UC San Diego. Who do you guys think?
Michigan.
See, dude, this one I think is real. Sorry to cut you off, Nate, but this one I think is really similar to the Clemson and McNeese game, where everybody is saying how this is one of their upsets, the 12 seed to beat the 5 seed. I think Michigan gets it done in this one. I think, like I said, same with McNeese. Everybody's on them to win. I feel like that doesn't always happen. Yeah, give me Michigan here. They just won the Big Ten tournament. They're playing hot right now after having a pretty shitty end of the year, but they got some confidence back. I think they take this one pretty easily.
We got number 4 Texas A&M versus number 15 Yale. Who do you guys think wins?
Texas A&M.
Yeah, probably Texas A&M.
All right, number 6 Ole Miss versus number 11 UNC or SDSU. Who wins?
I could see an upset happening here, I guess, but UNC, I feel like they shouldn't have even made the tournament. I don't know their exact record, but they only won one quad 1 game this year. I know they were near the top of the ACC, but the ACC fucking sucked this year. They definitely should not have made the tournament. In my eyes, I think it's ridiculous that the committee gave them a bid. I don't think it's worth pointing out that the athletic director for UNC is on the March Madness committee for picking the teams. So I mean, obviously they probably have a rule where he can't make a decision or vote on UNC, but it's a little suspicious there. I think it's total bullshit they got in. So if they do win in the first 4, I hope they get dog walked in this first round.
I was gonna say I got Ole Miss.
You got Ole Miss? So wait, you have Ole Miss. Nate wants an upset? Yeah?
No, I said I could see an upset happening, but I hope they get fucking dog walked. So I would take.
Are you talking about by San Diego State or by
yeah,
Ole
who are you talking about?
I guess I was saying I didn't make a pick in the first game, but I guess I should. San Diego State. I think North Carolina gets fucked up. Gets fucked up, and before they even get there, then probably Ole Miss. Sorry.
Okay, so Ole Miss?
No, I didn't know which one you're talking about.
Ole Miss. Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. I think Ole Miss is going to beat either of them.
All right, sounds good. All right, so then we got Iowa State number 3 versus number 14 Lipscomb. What the fuck is that?
He's made a tournament.
If you can't pronounce it, they got no shot.
Yeah, obviously Iowa State, bro, got me fucked. I don't care. I'll make that decision for you guys. All right, we got number 7 Marquette versus number 10 New Mexico. What do you guys think?
New Mexico's got a really good chance to win this game, but I am gonna go with Marquette. I don't even know why.
All right,
Cam Jones is a good player.
I'm gonna go Marquette too.
Then we also have number 2 Michigan State versus number 15 Bryant. What do you guys think? Michigan State or Bryant?
Michigan State.
Yeah, Michigan State.
Moving on to the Sweet 16, we have 1 Auburn versus number 8 Louisville. Who do you guys think goes to the Sweet 16?
Auburn.
I do too, but I think this will be a great game if Creighton win, or if they're able to get past Creighton. I think this will be a great game. I still got Auburn.
All right, we got number 5 Michigan versus number 4 Texas Tech. Who gets to the next round?
I'll take Michigan in this one. Isn't it Texas A&M?
I said that. Texas Tech.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, it is Texas A&M.
Yeah, you said Texas Tech.
I got Texas A&M in this game, in my opinion.
I got Michigan because I don't know. Because I think Michigan's really good, had great success in the Big Ten tournament, so they're hot right now. Like I said, I think the SEC is a little bit overrated, so I would like to see Michigan win this one.
Yeah, so if I'm the tiebreaker,
and I think they will.
Yeah, if I'm the tiebreaker, I'll just have to go with Michigan, just because I don't know anything about Texas A&M. Really, honestly, I know a lot about. I've seen more Michigan games this season. I just confidently.
Yeah, I know a little bit about Michigan. That I don't know shit about Texas A&M. That's why I'm picking Texas A&M.
So we got number 6 Ole Miss versus number 3 Iowa State. What do you guys think?
Going Ole Miss here. I think Iowa's they looked great to start the year. Not even just to start the year. They looked great like the first 60% of the season. I feel like they've kind of fallen off a cliff recently. I think Ole Miss is a team that definitely had some ups and downs this year, but I don't know. I think Ole Miss gets it done. I think Iowa State's really struggled.
I'm cool with Ole Miss there.
All right. So then now we have number 7 Marquette versus number 2 Michigan State. Who gets to the Sweet 16?
I think Michigan State. Tom Izzo has some sort of black magic when it comes to the tournament. So
bad as it as bad as it hurts to say it. Yeah, I think Michigan State goes. Oh God, sorry. Yeah, so I think Michigan State goes to Sweet 16.
So then we got into the Elite 8. We have Auburn versus Michigan, or we're getting into the Elite 8. Out of the Sweet 16, who gets out of it?
Auburn.
For sure. No question.
Ole Miss or Michigan State?
Ole Miss. I got Ole Miss in my Elite 8.
I think Michigan State probably wins that one. I think they're better. I think they've proved that they're better. They've been so good all year. They've been pretty good all year. I know your whole thing about them being all role players and no like superstar, but I mean, Tom Izzo does have a way of taking teams like that far in the tournament. So
all right, scratch what I said before. Take a picture of Tom Izzo on this side and Rick Pitino on this side, and Nate sucking both of their cocks.
Come on, these aren't even like hot takes. These are pretty like cold water, lukewarm takes.
Well, fucking, if I gotta be the man in the middle, I guess I gotta fucking go with Michigan State. I can't even believe you guys
you guys like text each other? Are you like any tiebreaker? Let's go with me. Is that what you said? Nate?
Dude, I don't understand how can you even say Ole Miss is.
Did I get a tiebreaker here?
I mean, I don't. You know what?
All right,
I'm going with
we
Ole
can
Miss,
go Michigan State. That's fine because I can
already
see.
Went with
I can
Ole
see
Miss.
him.
It's too late.
We
I went with Ole Miss. It's too late. We got 1 Auburn versus Ole Miss.
No, you didn't stand on business on your decision. He pressures you for like a second, and you fold right away.
What kind of brag, bro?
Look at this. You pressured him all day,
bro. No, look at this.
I don't even pressure you. I just say we need a tiebreaker. Like, what's your tiebreaker?
No, I'm saying that we have right now. Let me just tell you what we have. Okay, in the Elite 8, we have 1 and 2 playing against each other. 1 and 2 playing against each other, and 1 and 8 playing against each other. We literally have, and then in the Final Four, we literally have number 1 Duke, number 2 Tennessee, number 2 St. John's. Bro, this is like one of the perfect. If we just let Auburn go through against Michigan State, we got 1 against 2 in both of the Final Fours.
Yeah,
what are we talking about?
That's not a good thing, though.
Exactly, motherfucker. That's what I'm saying. That's why we gotta put Ole Miss.
What's wrong with Michigan State? What's wrong with Michigan State fucking winning? Oh, because they're a 2. Whatever, whatever, bro. You fucking take Ole Miss, bro.
No, you're the one that just said it's a good idea.
I was trying to put Ole Miss here. I was matching for Maryland. I was like, let's mix this shit up.
Yeah, dude. I feel because bro, we gotta have.
All right, fine. Well, then let's go back and put Maryland forward and keep Ole Miss back so we can put Michigan State forward.
No, fuck that. No. We keep Florida. We keep whoever. Not even Maryland. It's St. John's, right?
Yeah, we put St. John's in there. Maryland loses in the Elite
Eight. No, I want St. John's in there. I want St. John's in there. All right.
So Ole Miss. Ole Miss loses in the Elite anyway. I got fucking Auburn beating them.
So
all right, that's fine.
No, so who wins? Auburn versus Ole Miss. Auburn.
I think Auburn. I was going to pick Auburn to win that game either way.
So basically, let me just put this out there for anybody that's watching, it's actually keeping me up. I hope you understand. When we basically came to that conclusion that we just had that argument with, we end up going with the number 1 seed regardless, getting into the next round. So it's like, fuck it. It really didn't matter if we picked Ole Miss or Michigan State. It would have just happened anyways. Whatever, bro. We'll fucking talk about that another time. Now we get to the championship game on the 7th of April. So first off, let's get to the Final Four first. Let's go to Duke and Tennessee who wins.
Wait, so what are our Final Four teams again? Sorry, can you say them again? It's
Yeah,
Duke,
it's Duke and Tennessee, and
Tennessee,
also Auburn and
St.
St. John's.
John's, and Auburn.
Tennessee, St. John's, Auburn.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go St. John's on this one.
We're starting with Duke, Tennessee. Who's going?
Tennessee.
I got Duke.
Well, I was gonna say Tennessee, but
always chokes, bro. I've never even been to a Final Four.
Tennessee's never been to a
Dude,
Final Four.
you're-
When did I know that?
This whole time you're talking about it. Oh, fuck the SEC. I gotta stand on business. And now you're picking Tennessee over the best team in the country?
All right.
This doesn't even make any sense.
Because I said the top tier teams are really good. It's the mid tier teams I was hating on.
All right. You did valid. You did.
So who's going? Who's going?
Dude,
I'll concede. We can go Duke. Or let's Duke is a Duke. I'm fine with Duke.
No, if you want,
I got St. John's on the other side.
All right, well, I'm just saying I would have picked Duke anyways if it came to a tie. Anyways, Auburn versus St. John's. Who's winning?
I got Auburn, dude.
All right, Auburn.
St.
Wait,
John's beating
hold on,
Auburn
I
sound
got
good?
St. John's.
Dude, this is not some fairy tale fucking movie where the sweetheart team always wins.
They're not some like low. They're a 2 seed. They're one of the best teams in the country right now. They just won the Big East
I know,
regular
but,
season
like,
tournament,
I'm
or the
gonna
regular
ask-
season championship, and the
I'm gonna
tournament.
ask you why
And they have one of the
they beat
best. They have
Auburn
one of the
and-
best. They have one of the best coaches in college basketball. They're lighting it up from the field. They're hot right now.
Dude, I'm gonna ask you why you think that, and then you're gonna say Aura. Aura doesn't beat
Yeah, that
Auburn.
too. Well, all those things I just mentioned weren't about aura, but now that you bring up aura, they do have way more aura than Auburn.
So who's winning? So
All right, bro.
all right.
Whatever, bro. St. John's. Just so we don't have 2 1 seeds in the championship. Sure, we can fucking put St.
All right,
John's.
so now, okay, boom. St. John's #2 versus Duke in the championship game on April 7th. What do you guys think? Who wins?
All right, with the caveat that I don't think St. John's is making it to the national championship game. I think they're out in like the Elite 8. I think Duke beats either Auburn or St. John's, so Duke is my national championship winner either way. Go ahead, Nate. Who wins?
I mean, I want to pick St. John's, but no. Cooper Flagg is insane. Is an insane player. I think he's one of those college players that he's not gonna choke in the tournament. Hopefully he comes back. Well wishes to his ankle, but
Yeah, I think that's a solid bracket that we've made. I mean, I don't like the way it ended, but yeah, sure. I'll go with I like.
you don't
Duke.
like one of your favorite teams winning the championship. You don't like how that ended.
I mean, they are a good team.
For those of you that don't know, Jordan was like a Duke fan like damn near his whole life until recently.
Yeah, so I don't think that's like the that's like the worst context ever for anybody that's listening. But what they don't understand is that when I grew up playing basketball, I picked certain teams and picked certain players that I liked and that my family liked, and then
I wasn't hating at all, man.
and then I represented those teams until fucking I basically got older and started to pick my teams that basically correlated with me that made more sense. Okay. Yes, I was a big Duke fan in high school, especially when I graduated high school. Big Duke fan all the way basically up until 2018, until I got accepted into the U of I, where I felt like, obviously, I live here. Fucking, I should have been an Illinois fan regardless. But again, we all have our own values. We all have our own fucking teams, bro. Get off me.
I wasn't trying to attack you. All I said was you are a Duke fan. You got real defensive.
Anyways. Duke wins. I agree 100%. They get to the championship. All right, and that's going to wrap up our video here today. I hope you guys really did enjoy. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you're new. Make sure you hit that like button if you guys are watching. That's going to wrap up our podcast. This is Matt. This is Nate. And we will see you guys in the next video. Peace.